What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. You join me today on this very dark, miserable, cloudy day, but hopefully today we are going to be sorting out the slight misfire issue that the Volvo currently is having by fitting one of these. It is a adjustable fuel pressure regulator that doesn't want to focus. There we go, one of those things. We've also got a fuel rail adapter here for it, which will replace the existing pressure regulator, the stock one. So hopefully that all goes well. I've never installed one of these before, so it's going to be a bit of a learning process for me, but I don't think it seems that difficult. Stock pressure regulator should be running around 3.5 bar. We're going to adjust that to run at 4 bar. However, at the moment the pressure is running far too high. When the car is running, it's currently at around 6.5 bar of fuel pressure, which is probably overwhelming the stock pressure regulator. So that is exactly why we're going to be fitting one of these, and then at least I'll be able to see what this is actually regulating it to, where the stock one doesn't tell me, obviously, because it doesn't have a gauge. So let's pop the hood and see how we're going to do this. Okay, so here is our regulator. As you can see, this gold piece down here. What I'm going to do quickly is spin the car around so I can work not standing out in the road, and the bonnet is facing this way, and I can just work it in this area over here. And do that quickly, and then I'll also show you while the car is running what current fuel pressure is at in the lines. Great. Alright guys, so these are all the parts that I'm using, minus the pizza, and we are going to be essentially sort of learning as we go. As I said earlier, this kit comes with no instructions, which I think is awful, but I guess it's going to be sort of a YouTube it and trial and error. But from my basic understanding, existing pressure regulator which sits in the fuel rail is replaced by this adapter. Then this adapter has a fuel hose which will connect to the back of the pressure regulator, like so. Lovely in focus shot for you there. And then, depending on what our regulator is set to, which is determined by how this top nut is threaded in, will then allow a certain amount of fuel to then escape out the bottom and then go back into the return line and go back into the tank, which in essence will affect the pressure in the fuel rail, because it allows obviously how much can exit the fuel rail, which will determine pressure. And then obviously this little one here is for the vacuum line. So that's my understanding. Whether that's it, I guess we'll find out. We've also got some hardware here for mounting it to the car, some hose clamps for the fuel hose there, and just some screws and stuff, and a little hose joiner in that bag there. Right, so what I've decided is the best plan of action. The hardware simply mounts on to the side of the regulator just like this, and what we are going to do is replace these currently unused nitrous solenoids. We're going to unbolt that from that top mount bolt and replace the regulator in like that. Oh, you can't quite see, but there you go, there's a bolt there. So we're essentially going to be mirroring this, and then the regulator will just be mounted up like so. So let's get this solenoid off. It's not a 10mm. Feeling like a 12, 13. There we go. That's the solenoid out. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to remove the line, because even if I did want to plumb nitrous up to this system at one point, it's actually on the wrong side of the car. It needs to be over there where the actual intake is. Change of plan, because of this, I'd say, poor design, although it was very cheap, and the fact that the bracket can only be bolted to this side of the regulator and not this side. We can't mount it here, really, because, well, we could, but the gauge is going to be facing towards the firewall of the car, which will kind of annoy me. So what we're going to do, I think, is potentially look for somewhere else to mount it. We might even mount it on the new regulator fuel pressure adapter, which is going to sit right where the stock regulator is. You'll see when we install it, we'll have a look, but hopefully we can make something work. Just yeet this top mount bolt back in. Many ooga-doogas. Okay, and let's remove the regulator. I have to remove this bracket here to get to the second bolt back behind there. And then we go. Here is our factory regulator. Also, first injury of the day. Sure, there'll be many more to come. Alright, and then our fuel rail adapter literally just pushes in and then torque it in with the bolts. I want to undo this one, was to see if we could mount this on this. And I reckon if we drill another hole right where my finger's holding that down, we can. I'm going to go cut this and we'll be back. There you go, that is the perfect size now. Right, let's quickly bang a coat of black paint on it. Right, okay, so for the most part, everything is done. I'll show you how it's looking. It is sat right down there on top of the rail adapter. So essentially, fuel comes from the pump along this line into the fuel rail, which is here. Then from the fuel rail, it goes up through this rail adapter. This line bends down here and goes into the back of the pressure regulator. Then that, depending on how it's adjusted, allows how much fuel is let out through the bottom of the regulator, which is down there, therefore adjusting the fuel pressure in the rail, and then obviously it's going to affect how the cars run. Vacuum line is just inside here, which is connected up to the throttle body over there. Here we have a line out the bottom, which then goes back into the tank. That's the return line, so that loops around under here. A little bit of a tangled mess at the moment, but it loops back round here, goes under the intake manifold, around up there, and then that just connects onto the return line, which goes all the way back down into the tank. So I'm going to start the car up, see what this is even reading, and then figure out how I adjust it. But I think the only thing it can be is this screw on the top, so I guess we'll try that and see what happens. Also check for leaks. That was not expected, but there's actually a hose just popped off on the pump over there, which I haven't even touched, so why that happened I do not know. Let me try and fix that and then we'll get back. Right, attempt 2. This time we're going to start it without the secondary pump running. This time pump wasn't leaking, but the connection there for the return line where the two lines join was, so fix that. Attempt 3. Right, so no leaks, which is great, and as you can see the car is currently running around 5.5 bar of pressure. I've done a little bit of research online, and apparently to adjust these things all you have to do is simply unthread this tightening nut, and then there's an Allen key, a hole for an Allen key in that thread at the top there, and you just twist that and then that allows you to adjust the pressure. So what I'm going to do now is take the car for a little spin up and down the road, because when it's been for a bit of a drive the pressure actually increases to around 6 to 6.5 bar. So we're going to do that and then try and adjust that thread to get it down to around 4 bar. So let's go. Oh, fuck, I love turbo flare. And we're back. Let's take a look at what the pressure's at now. So, as you can see, after a short drive, yeah, the car seems to sit around 6 bar of pressure, just under. So, let's try and bring that down to 4. Right guys, so as you can see there, that's 6 bar of pressure, and that is the regulator all the way undone. So clearly, even with no kind of regulator on the car, even if it was just a straight pipe from the fuel rail to the return line, it's still going to run at 6 bar of pressure. So the answer to the fuel pressure issue, I was saying before the car decided to shut off, the answer to the issue is clearly not to do with the regulator, although I am happy we fitted the aftermarket one, because now we can get an accurate reading and it does give us adjustment for the future if we ever need it. But I think the next plan of action would be maybe investigate to do with the pumps. Maybe the car doesn't need 2 pumps, although it does seem to struggle a bit when there's only 1. So I'll have to have a play around with that. But yeah guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. The same, the usual, you can follow me at HGVHarry on Instagram, and stay tuned for the next video, which very likely will either be something to do with the exhaust or the differential. See you in the next one.